I see you've chosen a very practical selection from our rack. It is, of all things, a transit map, a guide to the routes of the trains and buses. Not the kind of thing we would use much in the North Woods, no? But in Chicago, where this map's from, it's most practical. There once was, many years ago, a man named Raymond Park, who used a map like this to get a job, then to go to the job, then to grow tired of the job. Raymond Park cooked hot dogs in a tiny hole-in-the-wall store downtown inside what they call the Loop in Chicago. The tracks of the elevated trains form the loop around the area. It's noisy, it's dangerous, it's Chicago. I heard Raymond's story long ago, the story which starts on the train. Every day, Raymond rode from his mother's house in the suburb to make the hot dogs, the Brown Line, all the way to Wabash Street. He worked 8 hours a day, maybe more if his boss says so, then back on the L for a trip home. Day after day, it was train, hot dog, train again.
I need a life.
Even though he hate the job, even though he hate the train, he do it.
I really need to get a life. That'll be $5.50 including the tax.
Raymond, he hates it. But he complained to no one. No one, of course, except himself.
Thank you for coming to Robbie's Authentic. Please come again.
Train, hot dog, train again. It was all he had. But he was not the type to change things, nor take any sort of risk. There was only one thing that made Raymond feel good, and that was Kara.
Hi, Raymond.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Kara. Your usual?
She came in every day for her lunch, which for her was about 4 o'clock. It was for Raymond the only part of the day he truly enjoyed.
How are things down at the museum?
What? Oh, the same, you know. I dust the lights, I clean up after the customers.
I think that'd be great.
Really?
Well, you know, I just sell hot dogs, but you get to clean some of the greatest artworks in the world.
Well, not really. We're not allowed to touch the paintings. It takes special training to do that. Mostly I just dust the lights.
Oh. Hey, you read anything new?
Oh, of course. I found one by Pansy Cryptogram. She's my favorite.
That's a funny name.
Well, I don't think so. It's a pseudonym anyway.
It's a what?
A pseudonym, you know? A pen name. Writers don't always use their own names when writing stories.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's called A Rift in the Fabric, and it's about another dimension where everything is small and the hero is this tiny little girl, like almost a midget. So when she goes through the rift, it's like she becomes the queen. I don't know, it's kind of stupid.
No, it sounds interesting. I wish I could afford books.
Well, the public library's right over there. It's free.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel funny walking in there.
Well, I bought Rift in the Fabric at a used bookstore. When I'm done with it, I could let you have it, okay?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Plain with brown mustard and a diet cream soda?
That's me. Thanks.
I seen a Star Trek one time when they talked about other dimensions.
Yeah, it's kind of an old idea. This one book is from a used bookstore, like I said. I think it was written in the 70s.
It's like time travel?
What, dimensions? Not really. It's more... I don't know. I'm just a cleaning lady.
Yeah, but you read more than anyone I know. You could probably be a librarian.
No, that takes special training too. You know, I just like to read.
Dimensions. What do they mean by that?
I don't really know. All I read is fiction. They don't really explain how everything works. They just make up a story that happens in another dimension. It's called a device.
Oh.
I suppose it's kind of like centuries ago when sailors from Europe made up stories about the New World. They could make them anything they wanted because no one knew what it was really like.
Here there be monsters.
What?
What? Oh, nothing. Just an old saying. My dad used to have this old map on the wall in our cabin. It was a replica from before Columbus times. This side of the world just said, here there be monsters.
You have a cabin?
Well, my dad did, up in Minnesota. He and my mom got divorced when I was 12.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right after that, he sold the cabin. I still see Dad all the time, but I really miss that cabin, you know? He had a little sailboat and a couple of canoes. He had all kinds of sailing stuff. That's where the map came in.
Oh.
Here there be monsters.
Well, thanks for lunch, Raymond.
Hey, Kara?
Yeah?
Oh, nothing. See you tomorrow?
Sure. Don't work too hard.
Yeah.
Sad, no. But that's how it was for Raymond Park. Train, hot dog, one brief moment of car, then the train back to his mother basement before doing the whole thing over again the next day. And what you heard just now, him almost getting enough courage up to ask her out, that had been going on for months. That was the way it was for Raymond until one evening in the late fall. It was November. The snow was starting to fall a bit overnight. Chicago, a cold city, was getting colder, and Raymond, just like always, was riding the L home from work.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Why do I even bother? You're worthless, Raymond. You're worthless. What would be the big deal? Just ask her out. Let's go to a movie. What's so hard about that? You're never gonna do it. You're never gonna do anything. You can't even quit that stupid job, can you? Quit, heck, you can't even change one thing in your whole worthless existence. Not one thing.
State and Lake is next.
You should just get off the train, you know that? Why head home? You're just gonna come back tomorrow, and she's gonna come in at 4, and you're gonna talk about books or whatever, and you're not gonna ask her out again. Why do any of it? Why? You couldn't change one thing. You couldn't even get off the train at the wrong stop. You were in such a rut.
This is State and Lake. Transfer to Red Line trains at State and Lake.
Do it. Just do it. Just prove to yourself you can do one thing. Just one thing.
Doors closing.
They're closing. You gotta go if you're gonna do it. Do it now! Worthless.
But I told Angie I wasn't going to work for her this weekend since I worked the last 2. But she said she had seniority, and I better remember that if I didn't want to end up
Kara?
getting...
Do you think there really can be other dimensions?
What?
Other dimensions. Whole worlds right next to this one that we can't see or nothing. Do you think they exist?
What are you talking about, Raymond?
Just, what do you think? Do you think there might be other dimensions?
I guess. Why is this so important all of a sudden?
I don't know. I was just thinking in one of these dimensions we might be going out together.
What?
You know, just, I mean, anything could happen, right?
Raymond, you're funny.
Yeah.
I suppose it's possible, though. I mean, anything's possible in another dimension.
Yeah. Funny.
Well, thanks again. See you tomorrow.
Kara?
Yes?
Don't... you forgot your hat. There on the chair.
Oh, geez, thanks. I'd forget my head if it wasn't attached.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Is next.
That was a day in November, a day Raymond will never forget, because it was that night, on the Brown Line headed home, that shy, meek Raymond Park finally had enough.
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
In his head, Raymond was very angry. He didn't know why he couldn't ask out the lovely Kara. He didn't know why he kept coming to this job, and he knew that he had to do something or be trapped in this rut forever.
State and Lake is next. Doors open on the right at State and Lake.
As the train came around to the end of the loop and prepared to head north, something about the automatic announcement caught Raymond's attention.
Lake.
Maybe it was the lake of his childhood memory. Maybe it was the desperation he felt for Kara. Whatever it was, for the first time in his life, Raymond decided to be bold.
I'm gonna do it.
At the Brown Line stop at Lake and Wabash Street, miles from his regular stop, Raymond Park stood, walked to the door.
I'll just get a cup of coffee or something.
He stepped out.
Yeah, coffee.
And into a trap.
What the?
Raymond gazed all around him. He was standing near a beautiful northern lake in the summertime. The air was warm with soft breeze. The water lapped against the shore. A grove of aspen hugged the beach, and tall pines reached up to the horizon across the water.
I don't understand.
Raymond turned to see the train, empty now and silent, sitting there behind him, as if it were just waiting. He reached out and touched it, just to make sure it was real. And then he walked down to the shore and touched the lake, just to make sure it was real.
I'm going nuts. That's gotta be it.
Raymond stood by the lakeside for a moment or two, his brain spinning around like a top. Eventually, he walked to the train and stepped through the door.
Doors closing.
And he was right back into his life, as if time would stand still.
Kara?
Raymond?
Kara! Thank God I found you.
Shh. You're supposed to keep your voice down inside the Institute.
Sorry. I'm really sorry.
What's wrong with you? You look like you just finished the Boston Marathon.
I ran all the way from State and Lake. Dimensions.
How did you find me here?
What? Oh, I went down to the staff room and found Angie. She said you've been waiting for me to come by for weeks.
She said what?
Kara, Dimensions.
She didn't... What?
Dimensions. Tell me about Dimensions.
Did Angie say anything else?
Kara, I'm dying here. You gotta tell me. Can there be lakes?
What are you talking about?
You said other dimensions could be anything. Could they look like ours? With lakes and trees and cities and stuff?
I don't know.
You gotta know. You're the smartest person I ever met.
Really? I'm just a janitor in an art museum, Raymond. I don't know anything about this stuff, really. Only what I read, and that's mostly science fiction.
But it could be science fact, right?
Well, that's what a good story should be, sure. Possible and stuff. Why is this so important? Did something happen?
Yes, something happened.
What?
Will you go out with me?
What?
Will you come with me right now? I want to show you something.
I still have an hour left on my shift.
That doesn't matter.
Let go of my arm.
You gotta come with me. You gotta see this.
Raymond, let go of me. No. Stop it. Now leave me alone.
You gotta...
Get out of here before my supervisor sees us. You're gonna get me in trouble.
You don't understand. I think I found something huge, something bigger than anything. Something that's gonna get us out of here forever. We can run away, Kara.
Raymond, you're a very nice man, and I like talking to you, but I think you misunderstood my intentions.
What?
You're acting kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, if you saw...
Maybe we could just talk about it at the hot dog stand tomorrow after you've had a chance to calm down.
You think I'm crazy?
No, of course not. I'm working right now. I can't come with you to see the... whatever it is.
Oh. I see.
I really gotta get to work now, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for coming to see me, but... maybe it would be better if you didn't come back to the museum. We'll just talk at the hot dog stand.
Right.
I'll see you tomorrow. Plain with brown mustard.
Yeah. Plain with brown mustard.
So Raymond left the museum, walking like the sleepwalker down the large stone steps between the green copper lions of the Institute and across Michigan Avenue into the city. He felt lost. If Kara would not listen to the amazing thing that happened to him, who could?
Hey, watch it.
Sorry.
Raymond found himself on Wabash Street, the rusty iron stairs of the L station right in front of him. Thinking of Kara, he began to wonder about everything that had just happened to him. Did he imagine it? Was he crazy? He only knew one way to find out.
Doors closing.
The stop for State and Lake was just a little ways further down the line. Raymond could feel his heart pounding in his chest as the train begins to slow.
State and Lake is next.
He stood the whole way. Even though there were seats everywhere, he stood, staring at the door, wondering, waiting.
This is State and Lake. Transfer
And then they were there.
and State.
Lake.
And Raymond stepped up to the door, then stepped through.
It's real. It's really here.
Yes, it is, Raymond.
Kara?
It's real, Raymond.
Kara, what are you doing here?
Waiting for you, Raymond. Waiting for you in our new home.
Well, what do you think of that? Raymond, a good friend, was looking for paradise. And to his total shock, he found it. Complete with the girl he wanted to share it with. So what do you think he did? Turn and run back to the train? Return to his hot dogs and one 15-minute conversation with Kara every day? Well, to tell the truth, mon ami, he did think about that. He even turned to get back on the train, but the girl who met him by the lake,
Hey, hold on a second.
she reached out and grabbed his arm. She stopped him. She held him.
Where are you going in such a hurry?
She even kissed him. So Raymond Park, he did not get on the train. He did not return to Chicago. He stayed by the lake with this girl who was both his love and was not his love. A day went by, then maybe another day. Raymond and the girl, she's never far away, you know. They do nothing all day but play in the lake, and nothing all night but sit by the campfire. It is paradise. But Raymond, he sits stiff, unmoving. His eyes are like deer in the headlights. He cannot look at the girl with him. He's terrified of her,
Raymond?
and she knows it.
Raymond, what's wrong?
Nothing.
You can talk to me, you know.
Yeah, I know.
No, I mean, really talk to me. If, you have questions.
Well, yeah. Okay,
It's natural to have questions.
I guess.
So, do you want to ask me anything?
Okay. Where are we?
We're in the woods, just over from the lake.
Yeah. Which lake?
Oh, I don't know. I'm terrible with names.
Right.
Do you have any more questions?
No.
That's good.
It's not a question, really.
Yes.
I was just thinking, maybe I should go back in the morning.
Go back?
Yeah, back. Back to the train.
Oh,
It's just, I haven't been to work in a few
don't
days.
worry about that.
What do you mean? We gotta work if we're gonna eat, right?
Not necessarily. We ate tonight and we didn't work. All we did was play in the lake all day.
Well, the food's gonna run out eventually.
Why?
That's a funny question.
What is it?
That's a funny question.
Look, I know you worry about things, but you don't need to anymore. We'll have plenty of food. Don't you think I'm a good cook?
Yeah, of course.
The steaks tonight were good, right?
Sure.
And there's more where that came from. We can have steak and chicken and s'mores and hot dogs and...
No hot dogs.
All right. No hot dogs ever. But we can have whatever you want.
And we don't gotta pay for none of this?
Fascinating.
What?
Nothing. Just the way you worded that sentence.
Kara, tell me about working in the museum.
What?
I think I'm gonna go for a walk.
Where to? Can I come?
I'm just getting some air. Clear my head. Okay, if I just...
I understand. You need to walk.
Right.
You need to clear your head.
Yeah, I'll be back.
That's fine. Raymond?
Yeah?
You aren't heading back to the train, are you?
I don't know. Is the train this way?
You know it is. But please, Raymond, don't head back to the train.
Why not?
Well, if you tried to get back onto the train, we would have to kill you.
Raymond, he walked away from Kara. He walks into the woods. He walked near the train, but he was afraid to leave the woods and approach it. He tried to convince himself he hadn't heard what she had said. He tried to convince himself that there was some other explanation, that he wasn't hearing things properly. That made sense, of course. Raymond had not been himself for days. But what if he had heard right? What if she had really said, "We will kill you"? Raymond stood in the woods and looked at the train. It was still sitting there, silent, waiting for something. Waiting, perhaps, for him.
What fascinates you so much about that train, Raymond?
You scared me.
I'm sorry. What fascinates you so much about that train?
Nothing.
You left my side by a roaring campfire to come stare at an old train? I think I'm offended.
Who are you?
Who do you want me to be?
You're not Kara, are you?
Do you want me to be her? I think you really do.
Is this another dimension?
I suppose you could say that. Yes, I suppose that's what it is. Another dimension. A dimension not of sight or sound, but of mind.
Hey, I know that.
It's from the opening of The Twilight Zone. You remember The Twilight Zone?
I've seen it on reruns. 4th of July marathon.
You're not going back to the train, Raymond.
Why not?
Because we said so. We said you weren't going back to the train, and that means you're not. Understand?
What if I decide to go back on the train?
Don't.
Yeah, but what if I...
Don't. Just don't.
You're not Kara.
I know.
So, who are you?
I provide the food, the company. I even provide the lake and the woods and everything you think is beautiful. And after all that, you still ask who I am?
Yes.
Well, then why don't you step on the train and find out?
Raymond did not step on the train. Instead, he turned with the girl, who was not Kara, and went back to the campfire. The campfire burned a long time, until just before sunrise, it burned out. Though he did not remember going to bed, Raymond woke up in a comfortable sleeping bag, the girl at his side, with the sun shining in his eyes. But even as he awoke to another beautiful day, his heart was heavy. It went on like that for a while. Maybe it was weeks, maybe less. Even though the lake had sunrises and sunset, Raymond could not tell the time after a while. Each day seemed to melt into the next.
You're awfully quiet today.
Do you ever get tired of this?
Why would I get tired of this? It's beautiful.
I'm getting tired of it.
Very interesting. Is there someplace else you'd want to go?
Any place.
Any place?
Yeah, any place at all. I'm tired of this place. Change it.
What?
Change it for me. You can do that, right?
Raymond.
You're not Kara. You didn't even pretend to be her.
That's true.
And you said you were responsible for all this, so change it.
I don't think you understand the nature of this place.
Then explain it to me.
I don't think you understand the nature of you. Who you are.
Tell me who you are.
You're in no position to ask that.
Then why can't... Ugh! I wish the real Kara was here.
Why?
She's smart. She can figure things out.
She's not that smart.
Shut your mouth!
You only think she's smart because she's smarter than you. But really, Raymond, how hard is that?
That's a very mean thing to say.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Are you offended right now? Are you feeling offended by what I said?
No.
You're lying.
All right, I'm lying. So what?
Fascinating. You are offended?
What's so weird about that?
It is something we have yet to understand. Why, in a society such as yours, with such obvious social barriers, do the lower echelons feel offense at the suggestion that they are lower echelons?
The lower... what?
You work at a job below subsistence level. You live with a parent long after the age when you typically would be on your own. You have little opportunity to build or acquire cargo, and your only opportunity to reproduce is with this Kara girl, and you seem unable to accomplish anything beyond preliminary social interaction with her.
What do you mean? What? Who are you?
That's unimportant.
I'm going back on the train.
No, you're not.
Screw you! I can go back if I want.
Yes, but you don't want to.
I want to pretty bad right now.
But everything that's back there is wrong for you. You'll hate it.
Anything's better than this. You said you'd kill me if I went back, but I'd even take that over this. What do you want from me?
I want you to stay here and be happy.
I ain't gonna be happy here.
But everything here was made just for you.
I ain't gonna be happy!
Very well.
Very well?
You can go back. We've had a meeting, and we feel it might be interesting to let you go back.
Who had a meeting?
Go back before we change our minds, Raymond. Well?
Raymond stood for a while. He felt vertigo and was afraid what would happen if he took even a single step. He turned his back on the girl who was not Kara, half cringing from fear of a knife would be plunged into him. But nothing happened. He staggered through the woods. He was afraid, terrified that something awful was going to happen, but nothing did. By the time he reached the train, the forest was silent. The birds had stopped singing. The lake was a sheet of glass. Raymond did not look at any of it. He came up to the doors of the train. To his eyes, the train car was empty. The door yawned in front of him. He could hear the fluorescent lights inside pop and He heard what sounded like the train engines idling. With his heart beating in his chest, Raymond took a step and was on the train.
What?
It was different.
What's going on?
A woman, obviously dead, was on the seat next to him. At the end of the car, 3 boys were beating an old man for his wallet. A girl, maybe 15, held a bloody bandage to her head and stared at Raymond with terror in her eyes. Outside, it was worse. There was no traffic, because the streets were clogged with derelict cars, some on fire. Raymond could hear screams and evil laughter coming from blind alleys. Raymond left the train and did not find Chicago. Instead, he found a city on fire, burning itself up like a coal working down to ember. Chicago was a tough town. It's true. But this was not a tough town now. This was hell. Raymond began to run. He went down the horrible version of Michigan Avenue, choked with cars and dead bodies. Beyond it, he could see Lake Michigan, which was flowing with blood and slime. Lifeless heads bobbed like apples on the surface. And finally, after running for what seemed like hours, he came to the Art Institute, crumbled, charred as if it had been burned long ago. And he went up to the doors. He found them broken with glass scattered everywhere. Inside, a few pieces of art were littered here and there, but mostly it looked like the museum had been looted, left for dead. Raymond moved through the galleries like a ghost. A yellow moon shone through the skylights, turning all the white walls jaundiced color of death and decay. Eventually, Raymond found a corner and sat.
What are you doing, Raymond?
What did you do?
Don't worry. Your precious Chicago still exists. None of this is real.
I don't get it.
You don't get that it's not real?
I don't get why you did it. Any of it. The lake, the city, why you look like Kara. What are you, anyway?
What would you like us to be?
I'd like this to be a dream I can wake up from.
We can do that if you like. Or we can be aliens sent to study you, or the government here to manipulate you, or angels sent to teach you a lesson. What do you want?
I want my life back.
But you hated that life.
It was mine. I want it back.
What if I told you that's the one thing we can't do?
I don't understand.
Of course not.
You make the lake, and you make this hellhole city, and you say you can't... What is it you say?
We don't really know who you are, Raymond. We don't really know what you are. You came to us one day, and none of us can remember what day that was. We don't know if we were always here waiting for you, or you were always here waiting for us. We don't know if there really is a Chicago.
But you just said it was fine.
I lied. Sorry.
So, dimensions.
Perhaps.
Is there anything you didn't lie to me about?
Yes, what I just said, about you coming to us and we being here for you. The truth is, Raymond, my kind have been studying what you call dimensions for a very long time, which doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things.
'Cause time is meaningless?
That is a very big thought for you. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Time, space, none of it has much meaning anymore. My point still stands. We've been studying dimensions other than our own for a long time.
How many? Dimensions, I mean.
We don't know. We were scientists at one point. Scientists interested in the crossing over of space and time from one reality to another. We went from being curious about the concept to being able to use it much too fast.
What do you mean?
I mean, we've ruined things, Raymond. What started as a collection of experiments ripped us out of our own reality and dropped us into a netherworld between realities. We can explore an infinite number of other dimensions, but we have no context anymore. We've been at it for so long, few of us can even remember what our world was actually like. Without a standard to measure from, it's impossible to draw any conclusions.
But you could go back, right?
To our world? We've been working on that for millennia. Sometimes there's a little progress, but mostly not.
I don't understand. If the experiments don't mean nothing, why do you do them?
That's a good question. We do them because we can. Maybe we can learn something sometime. Maybe we can learn enough to go back. Maybe. In the meantime, it is something to do.
Can you send me back?
Of course.
To Chicago? Not like this, but what it was.
Yes.
Was any of it ever really there? Or was it all created by you?
It was there. It still is there.
How come I don't believe you?
Go back and see. Return to the train, Raymond. Return to the train and get off at Lake and Wabash. Farewell.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Will I remember any of this when I go back there?
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Then it will be so. Query?
What?
I'm sorry, I have a question. Why do you want to remember?
Because I feel like I can do it now.
Do what?
Everything. Ask Kara out, get a better job, maybe even go back and finish school. Hell, college even. Why not?
May I ask what has changed?
Meeting you. Things always seemed confusing to me, you know? Like they just weren't right, like the world was all messed up, but when I met you, I felt like, I don't know, like I met God or something. In a way, I suppose I kind of did. And it turns out God is just as messed up as we are. Doing experiments, making mistakes, not knowing why or if anything's working. Knowing that God makes mistakes, everything kind of makes sense now.
We are not gods, Raymond.
Do you know that? For sure, I mean?
The girl, or whatever she was, stared at Raymond until he disappeared out the front door of the museum. He left her there to return to the L station and his life. I should tell you that Raymond had a happily ever after, but it would not be true. He moved up in the world. He married Kara, the real Kara. He got a real job. Everyone said Raymond Park, he had a real change come over him. He looked confident, when in truth was he just understood things now. He understood that there was nothing to be afraid of. So Raymond built himself a life. Some days he remembered the girl in the museum. Some days he didn't. And by, Raymond grew old. It is years later now. His wife died before him. And now he lies in the hospital, his 2 kids and 6 grandkids nearby. And as all around him begins to fade to darkness, his mind, with its last moment of consciousness on this earth, goes back to the girl in the museum, the girl who looks like Kara but isn't Kara. And he sees her there, still standing in the ruined city, watching the door where to her eyes Raymond has just been a second before. In less time than it takes the girl in the museum to take a breath, Raymond Park has faded from his earth. Raymond Park has become just another story from the rack.
Transit Map, a story from the rack by the Icebox Radio Theater. Starring Cayenne Chris Conroy as Raymond and Ayla McIntosh as Kara. Old Pierre was portrayed by Dave Irwin. Transit Map was written, directed, and edited by Jeffrey Adams. Sound effects realized by Dave Irwin. This program copyright 2013 by the Icebox Radio Theater. All rights reserved. Support new audio theater by joining the Icebox Radio Theater at iceboxradio.org.